Harrison. There never be no comparison. You're live on the show. Sit back and have a listen. LDBC, this is your boy Coach Shelton Harrison. You're live on the Coach Shelton Harrison Boxing and MMA Show Live. And this episode of the Coach Shelton Harrison Boxing and MMA Show Live is brought to you by John Boxing. John Boxing, congratulations to John Boxing. He has a newborn baby at home. He's got a new son at home, and congratulations to him and his wife. John Boxing was already a father, but I tell you what, man, I tell you what, John Boxing is really a great guy, but if you're a Gennady Golovkin fan, I would encourage you to stay away from that channel because you'll get no love, and that's just the way that is. Okay, guys, here's the thing, man. Here's the thing, okay? I want to talk about fans that are saying that Ronda Rousey and Holly Holm are washed up. And I've seen this in a lot of comments, in a lot of comment sections, including my own. And I have to tell y'all that you guys cannot bring that boxing mentality to women's MMA. You can't do it. Because our women's MMA community is going to start with this channel. And I'm telling you what, man, I'm going to be pushing. And I'm going to be pushing the women's MMA department on this channel. I'm going to be pushing it so hard that you guys are going to be like, yeah, we have a real community where we can discuss the women. You know, we'll discuss the men every now and then, but I am going to push the women, okay? And I want to start with these two, okay? Now, listen, let me go ahead and just tell you why I don't like Ronda Rousey to get you to understand that how I'm going to be fair, okay? My issue with Ronda Rousey is not the trash talking. That's not it. My issue with Ronda Rousey is that I think she's a hypocrite. I think she's a huge hypocrite. You know, she says that she don't like men that beat women, but she's, you know, she hangs out with Mike Tyson. She says she don't like men that hit women, but she's dating, you know, Travis Brown, who beat the hell out of his ex-wife. And my question to Ronda is, how you going to explain this, okay? And maybe one day I'll get a chance to ask her, because I will ask those questions, okay? But those are my reasons. But I'm going to put all that aside, and I'm going to talk about me being unbiased, okay? And I have to be unbiased. On this channel, I really try to call it down the middle. I try to really keep things in perspective, okay? I try to. And sometimes I am a little biased. You guys know, yes, I am a Canelo Alvarez fan. Yes, I am a Valentina Shevchenko fan. Yes, I'm a huge fan of those two. So, okay, sometimes I do, and I'll be honest with you guys, I do kind of go overboard on some of those, but I've been right about her most of the time. But anyway, let's go ahead and start this video. Okay, so people are saying that Ronda Rousey and Holly Holm are washed up. And my question to a lot of you guys that say this, because I already know that many of you, you've never been inside of a ring or an octagon. You've never been. I have. And let me tell you something. I know what it's like to get my nose broken. I know what it's like to have a jaw fracture. I know what it's like, you know, to have a bruised orbital bone. I know what it's like to be in an armbar submission. I know what it's like to be in a rear naked choke. I know what it's like, okay, to be in an ankle lock. I know what it's like to be in all of these type submission holds. I've felt, you know, I've been staggered before. I've been dropped before. I mean, I've been inside of a ring. You know, I didn't do it professionally, but I did it more on an amateur level. But I understand what these fighters are thinking when I make a video. And most of the videos I make are from a fighter's perspective. I understand what they're going through. Okay, but to say that Ronda Rousey and Holly Holm are washed up, you know, that kind of shows me that a lot of people, you guys have never fought a day in your life. And I can tell by a lot of you, by some of the way you talk, by some of the way you respond, that you've never fought a day in your life. You've never. Now, I'm not saying you can't have an opinion. I'm not saying that your opinions don't matter. Your opinions are important. But we got to look at the perspective of a fighter. Ronda Rousey is not washed up, and she's not a bum. And I disagree with Chael Sonnen. I completely disagree with Chael Sonnen's assessment of Ronda Rousey, you know, and her judo. And I'm going to tell you why. Okay, Ronda Rousey not a bum. She lost to a world-class competitor in Holly Holm. Holly Holm is world-class. Holly Holm has been a boxer. Holly Holm was a kickboxer. Okay, Holly Holm, you know, competes in mixed martial arts. But Holly Holm was a world champion boxer. Okay, Holly Holm was, I mean, Holly Holm was, you know, definitely a champion kickboxer. Holly Holm has done a lot in women's combat sports. And she lost to a world champion. And I don't understand why some of y'all can't understand, but a lot of people are just saying that Ronda Rousey is washed up because she got beat. No, she got beat. She got beat by somebody on a world level. She beat Miesha Tate. Miesha Tate is a world-class competitor. I mean, I don't understand the rationale behind people. Do you think that Ronda Rousey, you know, just, I don't know, I mean, just fought everybody on the episode of Tough Enough? Do you think that that's who she fought? No, she beat some quality opponents. Holly Holm lost to two world-class opponents. She lost to Miesha Tate. who in her own right is a world-class wrestler. She lost to Valentina Shevchenko, who, I mean, has over 500 fights, period. She's had over 56, 58 Muay Thai fights. She's had 15 or 17 MMA fights. Valentina Shevchenko is a world-class opponent. You lost to those type opponents. You didn't lose to somebody ranked number 45th. You didn't lose to somebody ranked number 10. You didn't lose to somebody ranked number 15. That's not who they lost to. They lost to world-class opponents. But it just baffles my brain to hear people say that these girls are washed up, that they're no more. The fact that they're losing to people, it shows you that they're fighting the best. It shows that they're fighting the best that's out there. That's why they lost. It's not because they're terrible fighters. Yeah, I will say Ronda Rousey, her striking game and her kicking game is not, it sucks. I'll say that. But if you put Ronda Rousey in there, like when she fought Betch Correa, I'm sorry, Betch Correa should have never been in the ring with Ronda Rousey. Because how did Ronda Rousey end that fight? She was hitting her in the head. She was beating Betch Correa in the head. How do you think she won that fight? She didn't submit Betch Correa. That ought to tell you that Ronda's striking and her ground game ability of striking, period, is better than Betch Correa's. And Betch Correa was touted as this big-time striker. No, she wasn't on that level. And Betch Correa didn't want that work. And she got that work from Ronda Rousey. That's just how it is, okay? She got the work from Ronda Rousey. Ronda Rousey's on another level. Betch Correa's on another level. Okay? I don't understand why people say that, oh, she's washed up. No, she lost. She got knocked out by a world champion boxer, a world champion kickboxer. That's who she got knocked out by. Holly Holm got choked out by Miesha Tate, a world-class opponent. You put Miesha Tate in there with most of the people in mixed martial arts, she's probably going to be victorious. You put her in there with a lot of people in mixed martial arts, she's going to be victorious. And who did Miesha Tate lose to? She lost to a world-class opponent in Amanda Nunes. See, I want you to understand where I'm going with this. Because there are a lot of you that don't understand how the fight game works. Like, you don't understand technically. Like, see, guys like me, if a fighter takes a loss, I'm not sitting here looking at them as, oh, they're garbage. Now, if Ronda Rousey would have got beat by, say, a number 30th ranked opponent, then I would have been saying, yeah, she probably is. That's not who she got beat by. The one loss on Ronda Rousey's resume came from a ranked opponent, a world-class opponent. The two losses on Holly Holm, or the two notable losses that Holly Holm has had, they've come from world-ranked opponents. And I don't understand. Because, I look at videos, Ronda's washed up. Holly's washed. They're not washed up. Holly may have the age thing going on, and I think that's going to start affecting her. But Ronda's still relatively young. She's still in her prime. To me, Ronda Rousey is still in her prime, and I just think that a lot of people are just ignorant when it comes to actually fighting. When it comes to you're actually in there fighting, okay? There's no shame in losing to somebody. The reason why people and guys like me gave Ronda a hard time because Ronda just ran her mouth too much. That was my opinion, okay? And you know something I found out too. Shout out to Roger Allen, man. I've been doing a lot of reading, man. And I've been reading contracts, UFC contracts. I've been reading those. And, it's very, very hard. It's very hard for fighters in the UFC to duck somebody. It's extremely hard. In fact, I'll talk about that in a later video, when the time comes. But it's hard, unless your name is Juliana Pena. It's hard to duck somebody. So you literally have to fight who they tell you to fight. That's how the UFC is structured. You have to fight who they tell you to fight. And when they put somebody in front of you and you just don't want to fight them, well, they can opt to not let you fight. They can put you on the shelf. And that's just by reading, man, reading what these contracts really say. And a lot of us ain't done that. I'm guilty. Because I'm a fighter. I'm speaking from the mind of a fighter, And I'm guilty. I'm very guilty of not doing that. And I'm not coming on here telling you that I know everything. But I do understand how these fighters feel when they're in that ring. And I understand. What it feels like to take that punishment. I know what that feels like. And I know exactly a washed-up fighter when I see a washed-up fighter. Ronda Rousey was knocked out by an incredible striker. That's who she got put down by. Okay, Holly Holm was submitted by an incredible wrestler. That's who she lost to. Holly Holm lost to an incredible striker, counterpuncher, one of the best in the game. That's who she lost to. I think some of you guys really need to get your priorities in perspective. I think you guys need to. And I think you guys really need to truly understand, how the fight game works. I think you need to understand how, when you're looking at an opponent's record, that the record sometimes, it could be a great record, but who did they fight? You can put any of the top 5 up there, maybe with the exception of Juliana Pena. I'm sorry, y'all. I know y'all think that I'm riding Juliana hard, but if you really, really dig into her resume, if you truly dig into her resume, the only person that's really legitimate on her resume is Kat Zingano. That's it. Okay? And you're supposed to be people who are 30. They're not supposed to be hanging around. They're not supposed to. Okay? And Valentina Shevchenko, she showed you what you're supposed to do to a 35-year-old fighter. She showed you how to do that. They're not supposed to be hanging around in the fight. They're not supposed to be close, okay? You're supposed to dominate them. That's just how it is, y'all. And I know that's not going to go over well with some people, but I guarantee you some of the fighters that you guys like, you put them in the octagon with a top 10 opponent. You put them in there with these ranked opponents that are world class. You're going to lose eventually. That's why the sport of boxing is so jacked up, because you got a lot of guys with a lot of undefeated records, but these guys are not fighting top 10 opponents. They ain't getting in there with these opponents. And if these opponents are top 10, somehow they got ranked by a governing body who's also corrupt. See, with the UFC, the way these contracts are laid out, y'all, and I'll talk about that like a little later on down the line, because I want to read several more. There are a lot of different versions of the contract. I only read 2, but there are many versions. I want to read every last one of them. But I tell you, these 2 are not washed up. I think you guys, you really need to get that in check and stop saying that they're washed up. They're not. Okay? A lot of us don't like Ronda Rousey. Yes, we don't. A lot of us hate Ronda Rousey. I don't hate her. I just dislike her. But I got to be honest and straight. I got to be real. Okay? She's not washed up. You guys tell me what you think. This is your boy, Coach Shelton Harrison. What are you waiting on? Subscribe. I'm done.